Hello guys, what is up? How you doing? Sirs, mums, ladies and gents. If you're serving, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right, I thought I'd talk to you today about how I build my deck. The process that happens. I mean, I've got obviously quite a few here. There's a lot of experimental ones, or ones just for event, that's what the Zs are for. Nothing else, by the way, before you get any wrong ideas. But yeah, I thought today it'd be fun to have a little test deck where we all know that Russian infantry, as a general rule, suffers against American infantry. And that's what I want to work around fighting and winning against today. Also, this deck is going to be situational, and having a huge abundance of decks isn't the worst thing if you're an experienced player. If you're new, however, I'd highly recommend sticking to just a few whilst you get to learn the game. Now, like I said, I want to have a really strong anti-infantry deck. Now, we've got quite a lot of options, especially with the VDV and mechanized combination, in order to achieve this. So, first things first, right? I actually just really want to have a lot of these guys, a lot of these ognomyrchiki, which means like flamethrowers, I think so, but with the thermobaric rocket launcher. Now, by the way, you guys might notice that this is a much beefier and more powerful basic bazooka than the one that the VDV gets. So the VDV are here, and you can see its stats are significantly lower. The burr is significantly lower than the ognomyrchiki ones. Right, so we're sticking in 4 of those in. By the way, this is how I build my decks. I only put infantry in first, so just the infantry. Transports we'll do later. You always got to have and the reason I'm taking these guys, by the way, as opposed to the VDV Igla, is this one's more powerful, by the way. It's got 200 extra range. Allow me to just quickly say a huge thank you to you guys supporting me on Patreon and on YouTube channel members, of course. I've made a new format. Thank you so much for your support. Sorry, not more powerful, but it's better. And the squad itself is actually stronger. However, this has got 6 shells, so it means you're going to be reloading it less, which is better. So that's why I'm going for these guys as opposed to these guys, even though they are 20 points cheaper, which is significant. But you want to get as many man pads spread out as possible, and plus their 7-man team means that it can survive a bit better. Now, one vehicle that I will get in from the start, because I know I'm going to use this, is this fully upgraded. Every Russian vehicle you got to have above 16 HP, because that means it doesn't get one shot by a Hellfire. So the BMP3 stock doesn't do it. You do have to upgrade it to make it 16 HP right there. Cool. Moving on, so we've got our anti-infantry, but this won't work in CQB. This will rip apart infantry in forests and in, across buildings in the open. But in CQB, you're going to have to resort to these. So the engineers will only put 2 squads in for the time being. I might come back to it later. But essentially, these are going to be my door kickers and room clearers. Okay, so what am I missing now? I'm missing some AT, some close range and long range AT. Here's the long range. It's not even a question. It's obviously going to be the VDV Cornet squads. Now, I don't upgrade them just because I think 1,600 meters is enough. 30 points is quite expensive, but not that much more difference. So yeah, just keep it cheap. Ultimately, remember that 1 cruise missile is going to kill the squad no matter how upgraded it is. So there we go. I'm not going to bother with the metas. So there's the long range anti-tank. We need short range anti-tank. And the options are this, which is fantastic, which is what I'll pick, or the VDV the Shah. VDV the Shah I like because they're actually pretty decent against infantry as well, but we've got that covered. So we're just going to stick to these guys to rip apart tanks. Now, when we actually look at the stats, so the RPG 29 here and the RPG, what is it, 7V, it's pretty much similar. The only thing is that the reload time is quicker for these guys, but hopefully there's going to be enough squads that I'm not going to need it. The damage and the penetration is significantly better, and the range, by the way, is significantly better on here. So that's why I go for the Vampires instead, the RPG 29s that is. Very, very big rockets. They are also lower HP, but then again, extra 2 men, which basically cancels it out. So it does become more or less the same. Okay, so we've got the close-ish or sort of medium-range anti-infantry, we've got the CQB, now we need a bit of a longer-range anti-infantry stuff, and I think the AGS, the grenade launcher, is the perfect weapon for that. So we'll get those, probably 2 for now. and then we'll come back to it. Okay, so is there anything I'm missing from this deck? Not really, in terms of the infantry. I'm pretty happy with it overall. I think what you always need is just some general infantry, some general bods to throw into the mix. So guys that can do a bit of everything. Now, these are a decent option, but you know what? For the same price, I actually prefer these guys. Well, actually, for a cheaper price, don't go for the Pulimetchki. The 3 machine guns don't work like they should in game, so they're actually quite pathetic. But yeah, some general infantry to put in there. We could go for the Motostrelki. They're 60 points, 7 men, as we've discussed. That's pretty decent. We could go for the Desantniki. Quite a decent all-round squad, quite large, giving it a lot of health. So if you're choosing between this or this, I'd go for the Desantniki, but 10 men is awkward to get into a squad. I'd rather just fill it out with more of these guys, I think, and that's what I'm going to do. So again, gives me more anti-tank options, still very decent anti-tank options, close range, but as we discussed, I kind of want a thing that can defeat American infantry at close range, and yeah, this is going to be the focus of this deck. So maybe I'll call this beefy infantry kind of deck, because that is the focus. You got to always have a focus of your deck in mind. So there we go. These guys will smash people in forests, as will these, and we've got a lot of anti-tank stuff here, so I'm not really concerned. Okay, we'll come back to the vehicles later, because that's going to be what's going to do the breakthroughs for me. People on board these types of vehicles. With the deck specialization that I've got nothing extremely speedy, which is a shame. But that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. I'll talk about that in a moment. We'll also talk about this, the differences between the BMD4 and the BMP2 and 3 as well in a moment too. Cool. We've got that sorted. Let's have a look at our infantry. Now, your snipers, these are the cheapest snipers in the game, so absolutely I'll smack them in. The other cheap snipers are the US Marine Corps ones. This, again, our focus is going to be very, very heavy infantry, and this is perfect for it. Now, the only thing I want more of is laser designated squads, and again, it gives me an extra RPG to deal with all the bookers, everything spam that America can throw. So these guys are going to provide some pretty good fire support as well with the 700-meter range rifles that they have, so that's a winner too. Razvedka is always good just because of how cheap and actually quite a decent squad that they are. I actually don't mind people using them, but I think that's enough in terms of infantry squads. Like, yeah, that's probably more than you'll ever need. So yeah, we can move on. I think it's always useful to have a long-range laser vehicle just because it gives you 2,400 meter range and also a 3-kilometer laser. And that's really important because the snipers and the VDV, they only have a 2-kilometer range laser, so sometimes you might just miss that arty. Now, I don't have any speedy fighting vehicles apart from with the VDV, so these are going to be maxed out with this cannon. By the way, I did some testing. The 2A42 cannon is better than the 72, so if you can use that, then go for it. But there we go. These are just really good vehicles. I actually quite enjoy using them a lot. I think that'll do for this tab. I really don't know what else to do. If you want fighting snipers, these are the way forward. They are so good at CQB against other sniper teams, and they can actually put up a really good fight against other squads. Sorry, when you put them suppressed. If you're going for long range rifles, then you can upgrade this, but I never really see the point. So there we go. I'm quite happy with this recon tab. The only other thing we need is a 4-post, and that is just to help clear out the backline stuff. I think I've got an abundance of RPGs, so yeah, we'll not put it in one of these squads. And I actually wonder, with the amount of recon I have, do I even need these? I'll keep them in. They might become useful later. The next thing I want to focus on, so air power and heli power isn't really a main concern here. Well, now we've got an abundance of lasers, so we definitely need to stick in a lot of laser guided stuff that can help us deal with, again, the American stuff. This, if you upgrade it, only gives it a bit of extra. What is the point of upgrading it? I think it's just the speed of the reload. Yeah, it just makes it fire a little bit quicker, but otherwise it's really not much point. It's nice and cheap though, so if you want to spam out RT, this is the way forward. What I prefer much more is this, the tulpan. So again, quite a decent, cheap bit of kit. You can upgrade it if you're crazy. I don't really see why, but the tulpan works really, really well. And has 4 laser-guided shells by standard, so 2 of them will kill a tank. Decent range, you're going to be fine from safety, but the best thing about them is the fast aim time. 6 to 8 seconds, you fire 1 shell and you move. Or 3 shells, obviously if you have 3 of them, so that's pretty good. The Malka. The Malka is decent. They are some heavy shells, but again, not laser guided, which is a big shame. The Nona. Right, now this is something you can upgrade to have laser shells on it. Now, I know it's a mortar, and I know it's not particularly effective, but it does actually work really well. This doesn't work that well. I think I'm just going to spam out no to this. Now, this is a little bit crazy, a bit unconventional, but yeah, fuck it. This is what we're going to do. We're going to spam out a lot of RT in the good old classic Russian fashion. Now we need some long range AA. I'm going to go for these missiles because the missile is going to hit or it isn't going to hit. This is potentially the better option because I don't get how, obviously this missile is twice the size of these ones, right? But all the stats are the same. I think it should do a bit more damage. But the problem with these things are they do get destroyed quite easily. You do have to move them around. And I think with the buck, because you have it a lot closer, the missile might hit a bit more reliably because of the shorter range that it has to fire. It's a tough choice. I'm going to go with these just because it means I have to reload it a lot less, which is good. Now, the Panzer. The Panzer, my god, do I love the Panzer. You got to have it upgraded to this because the 15 damage means that you can one-shot some helicopters, whereas with these, it's going to be 2-shot. Now, remember, missiles tend to miss a lot anyway, so yeah, you do really want to push the boat out here a little bit for your Panzers and get as many of those in as possible. Because we're talking about breakthroughs, and that's what I'm going to be doing with the vehicles, etc., which I'll come on to next. So here we go. We need maximum Kamazes. That's an absolute must. It's the only speedy transport that I have. All the other ones are really slow. Now let's make it look a bit more Gucci. Ooh, that'll do. I like that look. Strela, by the way, is actually a really good option too. Now, I know I'm running out of points, but I'll come on to that in a second. The Strela is just a really good budget vehicle that you can have a bit close. It does have radar, but no radar on here, which is really annoying. You can make it a Cessna, which also makes it very, very good. Very, bit expensive for my liking, but still a very decent option. So we're going to put 2 Strelas in because yeah, the Panzer is mega expensive. You do not want to lose this if you deploy this. Okay, we're over budget by the points. Let's just see how I can cut down. This is the next thing we've got to worry about. Also, we do need one big supply truck, but I think I'm just going to have to rely on Kamaz's shuttling because I'm really not spoiled for choice in this combination. I perhaps don't think that this is the best combination of troops, but we're going to go for it and see how it turns out. So, yeah. Okay. 4 trucks there. We've got the Panzers, which is what I'm most excited about using, to be honest. I can cut some of these Nonas, and let's see what happens if I downgrade this. Still not enough points. You need 3 of these for my plan, really. Okay. That'll work. Yeah, if I can't get any of them in, then so be it. Bit annoying, but I prefer the extra AA instead. We should have a smoke vehicle. Again, I can't afford it. It's really actually quite annoying that. What about... Okay. Well, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. Let's move on before we get bogged down. Tanks. Big problem. These are absolutely awful. These are terrible tanks. Tanks are just a bit terrible in-game. If you're going to use one, I think you're pretty much better off using this. It's got a lot of... It's quite expensive, but it does pack a punch. It's got a decent gun, decent accessories, can deal with infantry. It's just very decent overall. So that's what I'm going to use. But like I say, very expensive. You're actually, a really not bad option is to have this. So again, very, very cheap sort of setup is this. With these behind it. So you basically, essentially, for the same price, you get 6 tanks as opposed to 3. It's a very decent option. I recommend you try it. If you like it, great. If you don't, then that's fine also. But hopefully, the only thing that really threatens these is obviously javelins and hellfires. Hellfires more so because they do a fair bit more damage and they seem to hit a bit more reliably, which is why, again, the Panseers are on hand to help us out. Now, I'm not really liking the look of the deck so far, but let's just keep going with it. Let's have a look at helicopters. Right, we do have a good selection of helis right here. Lima missiles, I do love them, but unfortunately, they just don't really deliver for me. What I'd rather instead is set it up like this. So it's basically an anti-helicopter helicopter. And the KA-52 we're going to set up as essentially just an attack helicopter. Like very deliberate attack heli right there. That's what we're going to do. I could put the guns on it. I could put Stingers, Iglas on it as well, but I'm not going to. Essentially, with Russian helis, I think the best way to use them is in and out strikes. In, out, shake it all about, get out. And you need this just to react to the sheer amount of other helicopters that you can do. And if you're pushing in with these are a good backup for it. Probably give them some more rockets, actually. Yeah, it's not ideal either. I'm going to leave that for the time being. I will consider putting the 35 in as well because it is a very good helicopter. And essentially, what's good is that it's got the mix of things. So, and this can fire in 360, unlike this gun. Let's have a look here at the planes that we can play with. Now, the Su-27 is actually pretty good because it is a super dirt cheap fighter. Now, the only problem is that the Su-35 is even better. I actually highly recommend it. If you put the really long range missiles on it, it works fantastically well. Those R-37s will keep firing and the R-77s will also keep firing. Another problem you got to think about is the overkill mechanic. Sometimes it just doesn't because it doesn't want to or whatever, but it's absolutely fine. If you want to save points, then just put a fuel tank underneath here, voila, and then you've got a super cheap fighter that can pack a big punch nonetheless. That's still 4 missiles, but hey, I'd rather 8. That's also a decent option, as is that. For 20 points more, you may as well get the extra 2 sets of missiles. So that's my fighter. Su-34 is a fantastic plane. You must use seed on it though when you deploy it, otherwise it's gonna die, which is a shame. So let's stick the seed on it. You can use it with the mini nuke, which is what people call this, but I quite like my cluster bombs just because of the Booker spam that you might encounter, that you're very likely to encounter, I find. So 410 points, quite expensive, but we'll go with it. If you want a seed aircraft, then the MiG-35 is a good option, as is the Su-57. We'll see. What's the price difference? Let's just quickly check that. I should know off the top of my head, but you can't be perfect all the time. Yeah, the difference is you get the R-77 on this, whereas on the Su-57 you'll get the R-73, so close range missile. We'll go for that. Right, can we put some R-73s on here? You do have to choose the other missiles too, that's a shame. If you want a cheap air superiority fighter, you can go for this option. You can make it a lot cheaper. I'll show you how. Voila, voila, and yeah, we can actually do this. It gives it a lot of missiles. It's a pretty good setup. This is a good setup too. 265 points, pretty good. But as we've established, the Su-35 just does it so much better. Okay, so we've got the foundations of our deck set. Okay, so we've got our seed, we've got our bombers, and yeah, we've got other bits and bobs too. What I like about this as well is that it's a seed aircraft, but it's got 900 speed, which is pretty good. Su-57, by the way, obviously has that 1.25 stealth, meaning that semi-active missiles are more likely to miss. And then the price difference is 10 points. But again, the missile that you put on board is a big difference. This can also laser guide, which is pretty useful sometimes. Su-30, we've got to put the Su-30 in and essentially set it up like this. back line, pack, and whatever targeting. Nice. Okay, so what have we here? We've got about 1,200 points to play with. There we go, got there eventually. And we've got a pretty decent deck setup. Like I say, helicopters I'm not splashing out on just because I think they're a bit feeble these days. When the game was first out and America couldn't really deal with them, then that was different. So we need transports. Transports for all the troops. I think it's obvious what I'm going to go for. It is going to be the BMP-3s just because they can take, well, 7 men. So a 5-man squad and a 2-man squad. So snipers can fit in with any of these guys, which is a big win, or quite a few of these squads. Essentially, yeah, long story short, you just need to fill it out with BMP-3s. So where's my nearest BMP-3 that I've actually got decked? There we go. We'll stick 4 of them in for the time being. As we established, you do have to put the extra armor on it. Absolute must. You can, if you wish, try to experiment with the 30% ECM, but I just find that it doesn't really work these days. The only thing that stops is the tow. And how many players do you see using the tow missile? Barely any. So, yeah. Gives it a bit more vision, but that's really it. I wouldn't use the 57, it's just too expensive. It's a good armament. It is good. It's a good little module, but it becomes way too expensive. Just use this. By the way, as soon as you get hit once with these, smoke, retreat. Okay, BMD2s. I said we'd talk about these. What are they good for? They're just a good spammy vehicle. And if you want lots of sort of mechanized stuff on the battlefield, they're pretty worth it. I'd actually highly recommend them. We'll do it like this because, yeah, just 3 of them just to bring in some extra infantry. This cannon, this autocannon, is good. The machine gun's okay, and the Conkers is feeble, but the combination itself is actually quite alright. You can set up these as well because it just gives you a bit of extra firepower, which actually I think I will have because it's slower than the BMP-3 and will be lagging behind anyway, so it will provide some good extra bits of firepower. Okay, so we've got these vehicles, and I'm going to be relying on these 2, well, and this of course, to do my breakthroughs. I forgot that I had them. They're better than the Strellas, I think. Even though the Strellas do 11 damage, by the way, which is also an important distinction. They're better armored, they have smoke, and this cannon is fantastic. So I could delete these. And what did I want instead? I think I wanted the Nonas, right? Just for smoke. Okay, we'll do it like this. 2 of those. Tulpan's going to be the one that's constantly arting, and I'll have to get some teammates to help me out, because, again, I've got a very good amount of lasers here, which are just gagging to be exploited, so there we go. The deck's looking pretty good. We've still got 400 points to play with. So we've got this setup sorted. Again, it would be nice to put it, just can't squeeze it in. Just can't squeeze it in. So again, when it comes to supply, I'll be hopefully asking my teammates for a bit of help here. Okay. The vehicles. This is when we start to look at what else we can use. This is decent just because you can keep firing. You actually better get a Crescentima, but it is a fair amount more expensive. Let's just stick one of these in. Again, up armor just so we get this 16 HP. It doesn't have a smoke though, which is a big problem. The Cornet does, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to be that effective for me. With their prices being so similar, I actually think I'd go for the Cornet again, just because that smoke is really a game changer. Now, the Crescentima does fly a lot quicker, but the Cornet does more damage. So, for a missile vehicle, we'll use the Cornet again. Most of the time, remember that you are using these against vehicles. Against infantry. That is its primary purpose for me, and the tanks can deal for the vehicles instead. We'll throw in a cheap one of these just to, get the numbers up. I've never really used the Meteorite. Don't really like it. That's fine. We'll move on. In terms of helicopters then, that's the only other tab that I've got that's quite sparse. There's lots of infantry here, which, by the way, again, 14 men can fit in this, so all the 7-man squads will nicely fit into the back of the Kamaz. very quick, so that's good too. Helicopters then. I did say the Mi-35 could be the potential contender here. Now, I'm over budget by 10 points. Can I cut anything here? Yeah, I can. I can put the guns on here. So let's do that instead. I actually quite like that combination anyway, so there we go. And like I say, this is mainly for trying to break through into the back line and doing as much damage as you can. Obviously supported by this helicopter, which, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I give them these missiles just so they fire quicker. Sweet, sorted. That's the deck so far. We've got a little bit of extra points, and I'm thinking that just to get more troops delivered, this is a good option. Wait, need to put it on here. This is a good option just because it takes 3 squads of the VDV. So that's nice. It's a nice combination of a bit of general infantry, which again is quite decent because this machine gun is pretty good at close range. Extra squad. There we go. We've maxed it out. That's it. That is how I build my decks. That's my approach to them. Now, whether this squad actually works well in practice or not, we'll just have to wait and see. Actually, what I will do instead is have just... No. Yeah. We'll keep it as is. We'll have to just wait and see how this works in battle. Subscribe, like and subscribe for more information. But in terms of armor, yeah, 3 tanks. I think people spend too much money on tanks, and essentially clusters will kill them. So that's why I go for cheaper and more of them. Otherwise, yeah, that is your lot. Could put a bit of extra armor as well. That could help, but yeah, we'll stick it to how it is. Can we make it look pretty? No, that's pretty ugly. Cool. If you have any questions below about how I build my decks, then please do let me know. But this is the process. I can't wait to use this against things like Delta Force, who are going to be completely destroyed by these RPOs when they hit the Engineer Sturmoviki again. This is a very infantry sort of urban area kind of deck, but hey, I look forward. There's some maps where this will do fantastically, and some maps where the situation will mean that it just doesn't do that well. When it comes to Booker spam and stuff like that, that's where we have the abundance of RPGs, so that should come in handy, but otherwise, yeah, it is just a sort of very situationally dependent deck where we're going to have to hope that our teammates bring lots and lots of RT. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe for more. Yeah, I'm Lima. See you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching the video to the end. I really appreciate your help. If you want to support the channel, because I don't actually make that much off YouTube, then Patreon is the place for you. So feel free to check it out. The link is in the description below. Cheers.